Welcome back, everybody. Today's video is going to be a meta update that's really gearing to keep you guys up to the date today on what is happening at the highest level. I want to give a disclaimer before we jump into this video because for future meta updates, I'm going to be doing this for every single patch. Generally in Dota, the meta at the highest level is ever evolving. People see broken stuff, they learn to counter it. That stuff either becomes so broken you can't beat it, and then the entire meta gets shaped around it, or things shift and heroes become outdated even in a matter of a week, and then somehow these other heroes rise into prominence because they're good against these broken heroes, so they have situations where they're good. So what I'm going to be doing is, after I do my first tier list for carry every patch, I'm going to be now releasing an updated tier list every week or two when I feel like things have taken a drastic shift. But the bonus, the little cherry on top, is I'm going to be telling you guys exactly how we win from A to B, hopefully so you guys understand and are able to follow along every single week. Let's go ahead and get started. So our previous meta update tier list for carry looks like this. At the start of the patch, we had these three heroes in S tier. We had like these assassin heroes in A tier. And we had heroes like Drow in F tier. And so I'm alluding to some of the heroes that got changed pretty drastically in terms of what tier they belong to. So notice how here I have S, A, B, C, D, F. Well, something we also did with the update of our carry hero tier list is we're going to provide a bit more context as to what I mean by these tiers. So what happened in the meta is that offlaners realized, you've already probably seen my blade mill video. Offlaners and mids realized that the best way to play the game was to buy at least one core with a blade mail with high HP and to run you down. And if the guy didn't have a blade mail, it'd be something like a Darkseer that has Greaves and a Crimson and a pipe. And so what that meant was these heroes, especially in the laning phase, coming from the offlane, that you just didn't want to mess with. They were either super tanky because they had these early aura items, or you'd kill yourself on a blade mail. So the patch went from assassin type carries, because that's what people built to deal with these assassin type carries, to a patch of strength heroes with blade mail, which is good against these assassin type carries. So the meta really shifted for carries to be able to just avoid fighting altogether for like the first 15 to 20 minutes, hit like a 3 or 4 item timing, and then just run you down, basically, is the entire idea. So with that in mind, we're now going to show you the updated carry hero tier list. So not only have I relabeled the tiers, but I've also given a description on them. So let's start from the top down. So these S tier heroes are broken heroes to the point where they can be first rounded in a pub, and I think even if you got countered, if you played this hero properly, that you would still be able to win. So what I see in these three heroes as the archetype of carry that is best right now is carries that can just generally shove the wave at like level 3, 4, 5 and just leave the lane. And this goes in tandem with these offlaners with pipes and crimsons and blade mails, where you have flat cannon, you have Naga illusions plus Riptide, and you have Sven with Cleave. These heroes really embrace the AFK farm, go 0-0-0 by minute 15, hit like a 2 or 3 item timing, and just kill everybody. And they get there really fast. This makes them the best heroes at my bracket, especially. These heroes are all rocking at least a 53% win rate and are some of the most picked heroes in my bracket. So the next bracket of A tier is the 3rd or 4th picks. So we're talking about learning to draft better in pubs, right? So I say that if you first round these first 3 heroes, if you play them to their utmost capabilities, you should be able to first round them. If you're newer to those heroes, you should probably leave them for 3rd, 4th, and maybe people in your bracket aren't first picking them. But in my bracket, people are first picking these heroes. So it's kind of important to note that like you only have to pick a hero as early as it's getting picked in your games. So if you can save Sven for 3rd, 4th, or 5th pick, that's the dream. That means you're kind of like cheating in the draft. Your opponents are giving you this. In my bracket, if Gyro's not banned, he's first picked every single game because he's clearly be-all, end-all best carry of the patch right now. So this is just an example where you only have to pick as early as people are forcing you to pick. And learning to draft like this makes Dota for me more enjoyable because you kind of think of these heroes as like stocks. Like you're just trying to purchase them, like buy high, sell low, whatever, you know? I mean, that's not how it goes in stocks. That loses you money. But you understand, each hero has like an arbitrary value to which they are in the draft, and you have to prioritize them at that. And it's all about what other people in your bracket are prioritizing them as. So back to where I was after that little tangent, we're in the A tier, which is heroes I think are solid 3rd to 4th pick heroes that just generally are reliable. Or you could see like one hero in the first round and feel like they're good against it. So Terrorblade is like a less good version of the first 3. He jungles pretty early, and he can use meta to take the wave at like level 4 or 5 and then screw off into the jungle, but he can only do that once or twice. TA, same idea with Psyblades. PA, even though she can't do this, is just the best laning carry for killing the offlane. So as long as you're against an offlaner or a 4 position that's squishy like Skywrath Mage, for instance, PA will have her kill threat in lane, and it largely comes down to, does your 5 position promote killing the opponent? So a lot of these 3rd, 4th picks are like solid choices that need like 1 or 2 things right for them in the first round. Slark is second to PA in terms of killing people. Razor is super good against Gyro and Sven, so if you're seeing Gyros and Svens in the first round, Razor's a go-to pick. Void's really solid if you don't see Naga or she's banned, because that's Naga and Gyro are by far Void's worst matchups, so if they're not in the game, I think Void is still very strong. Wraith King and Luna are kind of just the reject Sven Gyro Nagas. Like, they are solid at what they do. They can do the same thing where they start to jungle really early and then leave the lane, but they simply don't do it as well, and their numbers are not quite as broken. But I think as long as Luna has like a support that can stand in front of her for the lane, allowing her to get those hits off, and then Wraith King, a hero that basically is not dealing with like his hard counters. He gets problem kited by heroes with long distance slows, and he also has problems with mana burn and offlaners like Tide, Timbersaw, stuff like this. So the B tier is heroes that are situationally good, but they're 5th pick. So I don't think they're good because they counter something specific. It's because the opponent doesn't have anything that counters them. So what I see with Troll is a lot of kiting, and overall like magic burst damage. Troll's really good against summons and such, so if it's like a lot of summons on the enemy team, illusion type heroes, Troll's really good in those games. PL is just, they have no illusion clear, good PL game. Ursa, for me, it comes down to nobody that can man fight him and no easy silences, so that Ursa can get that Battle Fury, Blink, BKB timing pretty decently. Spectre, it's a pace of the game thing. I get to my 5th pick and I see that the opponent's not going to be able to force objectives on a low cooldown, and I feel like I'll be able to get away with picking a hero with a weaker laning stage. CK is, I need an illusion hero, but we also lack stuns. I think he's very strong in that situation. And Bloodseeker is like, I see us with, it's like the opposite of Spectre. Instead of feeling like you're making the laning stage worse, you see an opportunity to like snowball the lanes, and Bloodseeker will be very good in that circumstance. So C tier are 5th pick heroes that are not good because they're generally good, but it's because they're good against what's good. So Drow, very good against Gyro. I would say Drow is really only good, in my opinion, against Gyro in the game. I moved Drow all the way up from F tier because of the fact that she was dying to assassin heroes at the start of the patch, but now we're seeing a lot of mids like Lena, we're seeing carries like Gyro, and Drow loves those type of games. But I also think she can have her game kind of ruined by 1 or 2 heroes getting on top of her, making her a last overall pick ideally. Like mid Pangos and Primals, these heroes are super annoying for Drow. Morphling, good against Sven and Gyro. Monkey King's really good against any melee offlane, specifically like a dual lane of melee. You know, whatever they pick, the 4 position Pudge. They pick the Tide Hunters. Monkey King flourishes based on the offlane matchup. Lifestealer specifically when they have no BKB piercing stuns, and he loves the heroes that build Blade Mail and Heart because of the way Feast works in open wounds when he gets the shard. Slardar is against an offlaner that can't really man fight you at any point, and then he eventually turns into like you have a mid because you have like a TA or an SF, and you're just going to make this gyrocopter that's going to frontline, or this, you know, Razor Void that's going to frontline and just shred them with your ult. And then Lycan is a bit of like he's the cheese, right? He's the cheese. So you see something on the enemy team and you say they can't deal with the fact that this hero can just cheese us with summons, and we already have like a Visage Beastmaster offlane, and we're just going to run them over. So next tier, we have D tier, which is below average only if you specialize. So what I mean is these heroes generally should be avoided being picked if you don't know how to play them already. But if you know how to play them and you're comfortable, then they're effectively like BC tier, where they kind of fall in the pick them later on in the draft, and if you're really good at them, you'll absolutely be able to get wins. So Dawnbreaker, I think she's a broken S tier offlaner offlaner, but I think she's much more situational as a carry, because as a carry, you tend to end up in stalemate games where a gyro's AFK farming and you end up AFK farming as well, and he's a gyrocopter and you're a Dawnbreaker. Lone Druid, you know, that's a Quakefa special. If you don't play Lone Druid, you just don't play him. Same with Arc Warden. Ricky got nerfed enough that I feel like he has a tough time laning against all these really tanky offlaners, but if you see an opportunity where they have a squishier offlaner that you might be able to bully out of lane before level 6, and then once you get level 6, they're done. Ricky will look really good. Yeah, as we kind of just roll down the list, all these heroes they don't flash farm, they don't jungle really fast, or their numbers just don't equate to the heroes that do. Like Medusa, for instance, has been nerfed several times, and she's a flash farmer similar to these three, but she does it significantly worse than those three do. But if you spent the last 8 or 9 months playing Medusa because she was really strong, then if you feel more comfortable and you have a limited amount of time to play, Medusa might be a good hero for you. Lastly, but not leastly, well, actually they are the leastly, we have the F tier, which is stay away if you can. I call these the for fun carries, meaning that if you want to have above 50% chance to win the game, you will stay away from playing these heroes in the carry role. Now, does that mean that there's never a situation where they're good? No. Does that mean, like, on average, they're below average? Yes. And so these heroes, you'll see that they're either squishy ranged guys, they're like semi-carries that aren't the best with like a fast-paced game. Like, they want to force a fast-paced game, but they get stalemated by these top three. And so the value of the heroes as we go down really goes up as more heroes are banned. Like, these heroes are banned in the top, or you're later on in the draft where none of the heroes up here look good to you, or you don't play any of the ones up here that look good to you, and you have to dig deeper into your hero pool. So I really want you guys to start conceptualizing, or at least attempt to conceptualize drafting the way that I know for a fact professional teams do, and it's just the clearest way to see drafting. The way I see drafting that they do is it just avoids you getting like Sven. You know, you don't want to be any of these other heroes later on in the draft against Sven. You just don't want to be, meaning like that guy 5th picks Sven and you 5th pick something else. If these heroes are left in the pool, we want to prioritize them as such. So I hope you guys enjoyed this meta update, a little bit of an update to our carry hero tier list. It's also going to be an update to how we do things moving forward in regards to the way these tier lists are labeled. And also, we're going to hopefully be giving you a more and more accurate representation and perception of the way the meta kind of falls into place. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of this new format of like a tier list update. I'll see you guys next time.